The Jake Asman Show will begin shortly. Thanks to all these great Patreon members who help support the show. Get your super chats ready. Jake will be here in just a moment. If you love the New York Jets, this is the place to be. And now, the Jake Asman Show.
Day 2 from Radio Row. Ladies and gentlemen, we have to talk about Kyler Murray to the Jets. That and more. We got live guests joining us. We have content galore. We're live from San Francisco. It's the Jake Asman Show. Let's hit it and get it started.
Live from Radio Row in San Francisco, California. It's Super Bowl week, baby. Patriots and Seahawks rematch. Some of the biggest names in sports and entertainment will be right here. Put your seatbelts on and get ready, Asmaniacs. It's the Jake Asman Show.
Here we go. Welcome in, everybody. Smash the like button. Make sure you are subscribed to the channel. We are live from our Radio Row table inside the Moscone Convention Center here in the Bay Area. Super Bowl opening night was last night. All the players and coaches spoke. It's one of those environments where they let anyone be credentialed, and you get silly questions. You get Sam Darnold trying on, a life-size ham and being called Ham Darnold. You get funny stuff like that. There's more media availabilities with actual media people throughout the week. But we're another day closer to the actual game on Sunday. Reminder, we're presented by FanDuel. If you're going to bet on the game, certainly make sure you do it. With FanDuel, the latest look at the line, it remains unchanged, 4.5, favoring the Seahawks, which feels about right. Again, Sam Darnold last night was asked all about his time with the Jets, and he continues to say the right things. And Sam Darnold, I think, is one of those guys that no one has a bad thing to say about him. Teammates, coaches, former teammates, former coaches, and certainly the Jet fan base is united in rooting for Sam. And it also has a lot to do with just the overall disgust we have with the Jet organization, because we're down bad right now, right? We could be honest about that. So seeing Sam Darnold do well is like vindication that, it is the Jets. It's not the players in a lot of cases. And I think every Jet fan is certainly in their right to be rooting for Darnold and is excited about what he could potentially do in this game on Sunday. I think Seattle's the better team. I've said it now for the last 2 weeks that the winner of the NFC Championship game would be the team that would win the Super Bowl. So I like Seattle on Sunday, and I think Sam Darnold is going to go out there and play a really good football game. So there's your early look a couple days ago, or with a couple days to go, I should say, on Super Bowl Sunday. We're here at Radio Row, give you guys a little feel for the scene. I'm taping some great conversations with various people throughout the day. We will have a live guest, though, joining us, Connor Rogers from SNY, Badlands, Stock Exchange, NBC. He will be sitting down with me, and we will talk all things Jets. I want to get to your calls as well on the show, but we have to start with some rumblings about Kyler Murray. That's right. This was Connor Hughes, also of SNY, yesterday on his podcast, with a theory on why the Jets could be the team for the current Arizona Cardinals quarterback.
And the way that things have started to happen for the Jets this offseason, and the way that things have changed for the Jets this offseason, and why they've kind of been turning and veering and switching the plan and going all that, it's making me think like Kyler's going to happen. And it's just because it feels like they're going to want to splash. And if some of the main people that are pushing for moves are like, I want to splash, Kyler is the splash. That's not Kirk Cousins. Yep. That's not Jacoby Brissett. That's none of that thing. Kyler's the guy that would excite people, that's going to look fun, that's going to steal headlines, you can start to look at what he's done throughout his career at different points and be like, oh, maybe it will work here. He just needs a change of scenery. And once he gets here, I think it'll be a complete and total disaster. And I will say that, let me put it this way. If Kyler Murray does end up here, I think all of the notions of like, no, this is 100% this is 100% that, and these are the people that are making the decisions. If Kyler is here, I genuinely believe that's a sign that maybe there's more hands in decision-making than just Aaron Glenn and Darren Muji.
Does anyone actually think Kyler Murray at this stage would be a splash? That's where I disagree with Connor Hughes. Like, the Jets want to splash. Is any Jet fan going to be that pumped up and excited about Kyler Murray? It'd be one thing if you get Kyler Murray for nothing, right? He gets cut, and you could just add him Arizona's paying his contract, and you're getting Kyler Murray for a minimum cost. But the idea of trading for Kyler Murray, giving up anything that is significant when you're taking on his current contract, no way. And again, even if the Jets end up with Kyler Murray in any capacity, does anyone actually think that's a splash? Like, does anyone actually think Kyler Murray's going to come here and it's going to work out? He's 5'10". He's dealt with a ton of injuries in his career. And this is a guy who, when he signed his extension in Arizona, they needed to put a clause in his contract that he had to study film during the week. There's a running joke in Arizona that when the new Call of Duty comes out every year, that's when the Cardinals are going to lose Kyler Murray. His production's going to go down because he's going to be playing video games all the time. Like, again, bringing in Kyler Murray and trying to sell him as a splash move, no Jet fan is going to buy that. At least anyone with a brain. That's not a splash move. Kyler Murray has not been good in a couple of years. He's dealt with a ton of injuries. Again, games played for Kyler Murray, he was in 5 games this year. They benched him, / he was unhealthy, and he never got the job back because they didn't want to guarantee, with an injury guarantee in his contract, more money. I mean, Kyler Murray at points has looked good, but he's never consistently been good. Kyler Murray, maybe you could try and sell yourself on the upside. He's young, but does that feel like an Aaron Glenn player? Again, he's often injured. He's undersized. You question the work ethic. Woody Johnson's big splash is going to push Glenn and Muji to sign Kyler Murray. I'm not buying that. I'm not. I know it's easy to blame Woody for everything, but I don't buy this as like the Jet big splash here. I don't. I think you want a big splash would not be Kyler Murray necessarily. I don't believe that to be the case. I think Jet fans are smart enough to know what a splash is. A splash would be trading for Lamar Jackson, trading for Joe Burrow. Those would be splash moves, trading for Dak. Kyler Murray's not a splash. And again, the best thing for the Jets would be someone who's durable that could be solid at the position. And I think a guy like Kirk Cousins or trading for a different Cardinals quarterback, Jacoby Brissett, that maybe makes more sense. And again, the idea of trading any assets for a 5'10" quarterback who's been often injured and you question his work ethic, how does that make sense? No Jet fan, I believe, truly thinks Kyler Murray is the answer here. You add Kyler Murray, I mean, you get ready to march for Arch, because that's where this would be headed. Get ready, Jet fans. The Jets are on the clock, number 1 in 2027. I think the Jets need a pro, right? I think you need a Kirk Cousins type. Someone that could stand there, be accurate with the football. Someone that could be a leader. You're not questioning him. Like, that to me is more Kirk Cousins than Kyler Murray. I'm not buying it. Comments, questions, super chats will cut the line. In addition to talking about Murray this morning, live from Radio Row, let's discuss the latest with the Jets offensive coordinator search. I am fully expecting either tonight, maybe even this afternoon, or fully expecting by tomorrow the Jets to have a new OC in place. The reasoning for that is this. Yesterday, we learned the Jets announced they interviewed Greg Roman and Darrell Bevell in person. These were second interviews. And today, multiple sources were reporting that Frank Reich is interviewing with the Jets. And he's interviewed previously. They've been speaking now for weeks. We've heard Frank Reich's name for a couple of weeks already as an OC option for the Jets. What I hope this all means is if Frank Reich gets the job, I think the best Aaron Glenn could do would be to get Darrell Bevell on as like the passing game coordinator and Greg Roman on as the run game coordinator. Or at least of those two options besides Reich, one of them is joining the staff, and you try and just build up your coaching staff with some experience. And you hope that that's enough for the Jets to show some major improvement and you feel better about the direction of the franchise. It's a tough sell. Again, Frank Reich in the year 2026, no one is dying to hire him to be the, quote, head coach of the offense. It's funny, I was out last night with Jim Murray, who's the afternoon host on the Sports Hub in Boston. He's on Felger and Maz. And, you know, he was asking me about Glenn, and he said they talked about on their show the line that Glenn made, apparently, when he was talking with offensive coordinator candidates about trying to find, like, the head coach of the offense. He's like, that's what Gerard Mayo said about Alex Van Pelt. And I go, of course. But the difference is you guys fired Gerard Mayo, and instead Woody Johnson is sticking with Aaron Glenn. So none of this feels good. But I think the best the Jets could do under these circumstances would be you get, let's say, Frank Reich hired as your OC, and then underneath him is Greg Roman as the run game coordinator. That to me feels logical. Now, it sounds like I was listening to Boomer Esiason this morning on FAN. He was college roommates with Reich. He knows him well. It sounds like it's going to be Reich. You know, I don't want to put words in Boomer's mouth. He was trying to be coy when Gio was asking him about it. But the read I got listening to the segment where they discussed Reich's conversations with the Jets is that it's his job to lose, and maybe it's just going to come down to money. Because, again, if they want Reich, he now has leverage with Engstrand being fired. But, I mean, are Jet fans going to be that excited over a Frank Reich and Kyler Murray quarterback room? Probably not, honestly. I think if you're a Jet fan, and I get asked this by a couple people since I've been out here, I think what you're hoping to see from the 2026 Jets is a team that continues to add to its roster this offseason, 4 picks in the top 44. You want to see this team go out there, and you want to see them beef up their defensive line with some of the premium assets, add another wide receiver next to Garrett, get another solid year from Olu, Tippmann, and Membu. The record is probably not going to be great. Things change, surprises happen, unless you're the Jets, but I'll play along. And I think what you're hoping for is that at the end of 2026, there's enough here combined with the draft resources, right, the 3-1s in 2027, that this is an attractive job for someone, whether it be Mike Tomlin or Sean McDermott or the top offensive names a year ago. Why do you think Clint Kubiak is taking the Raiders job? Is it because they have this great roster? Their offensive line's terrible. They got Bowers, they got Genty, and then what? Max Crosby's 30 years old. He's on the downside of his career. Like, what's attractive about the Raiders? Oh, they have the number 1 pick. There's a path to getting a quarterback in Fernando Mendoza. You could get a big name. I think the Jets are in a spot where they could be the Raiders a year from now. They could even be a team like the Giants. And I do think the fact that the Giants hired Harbaugh, that's going to eat at Woody Johnson because the Giants are getting praised. They're going to turn it around. They hired Matt Nagy, and you have Giant beat reporters trying to defend it like, well, what do people not like about Matt Nagy? You know, that was the Jets hiring Matt Nagy. They'd be mocked nonstop. So I think Woody will hear all this, and my hope is a year from now, we're sitting here at Radio Row, and we're excited as Jet fans because they just hired a top-of-the-line head coach if Glenn can't turn this around. You hate that is the optimistic spin, but that's kind of how I feel right now, which is disappointing. Comments, questions, super chats. They cut the line. Your thoughts on Kyler Murray, Jet fans? Would anyone be excited? Is there a big splash that you're hearing from Florham Park if Kyler Murray is the move? I mean, the only path for the Jets to, I think, really get some buy-in from the fans is if they, drafted one of these quarterbacks and somehow they hit on a Nussmeier or they hit on Ty Simpson if they were to take him, and they show some real promise. Like, the Saints were supposed to be the worst team in the league, right? But they ended the year with real optimism from their fan base because they feel like they have a coach. They took a chance on Tyler Shuck, the quarterback, in the second round, and now the New Orleans Saints are a team that people think they could go out there and they can, maybe make some noise in a weak division. Like, there's some intrigue with the New Orleans Saints. What's the intrigue with the Jets right now? Does anyone have it? I think they have the resources and they have the draft picks, but do you feel like there's a big splash right now? I don't. Now, maybe if the Jets signed Malik Willis, just because you could sell yourself on the fact that, hey, here's the guy that played really well when was given an opportunity this year with Green Bay. Maybe he's starting to find himself after getting a chance to sit back and learn from Matt LaFleur and watch Jordan Love, right? Jordan Love sat for 3 years watching Aaron Rodgers. Look at him. He's turned out to be a really good quarterback. Maybe the same thing could be said. The same thing could be said in this exact scenario for Malik Willis. But are the Jets the team that can unlock Malik Willis? Like, are you selling yourself on that, Jet fans? Tough sell. Comments, questions, super chats, cut the line. Ladies and gentlemen, because we are out here in the Bay Area, we have added some awesome prizes to our raffle. We have 5 prizes this Friday we're going to raffle away. Every membership and super chat that qualifies is double. That's right. Signed Joe Namath helmet. We have a Super Bowl III ticket replica display. Framed ticket display. Prize 3, signed Garrett Wilson helmet. Prize 4, signed Joe Klecko helmet. Prize number 5, C.J. Mosley autographed jersey. Think about that. That's the raffle this week, baby. It is all happening here in San Francisco. So again, enter the raffle. Everything is double. We're going to do at least one long-form stream per day. We'll do a breaking news stream at some point, I'd imagine, when the Jets hire, in all likelihood, Frank Reich, but it could be Bevel, it could be Roman as their offensive coordinator. So we are out here live from Radio Row. We got some special guests that are going to be joining us throughout the week. I'm excited to share with you all that we have Gary Vaynerchuk, Gary V, who we hope buys the Jets, joining us on Thursday. We're going to be joined by Connor Rogers coming up in about 27 minutes. If you're watching live, 10 a.m. Pacific, 1 p.m. Eastern. We're also going to be joined by Joe Caporoso this week. Christopher Mad Dog Russo will be on the channel. I got some big things cooking. Jets quarterback, I guess technically Hendon Hooker, is going to be stopping by. Former Jets quarterback Matt Sims is also going to be on the show. I guess I have a type, third-string Jet quarterbacks that are made available to me here at Radio Row. So just a little sample of some of the guests we have. But I wanted to get on the air early out here before it gets really crazy in Radio Row this afternoon. And then really from Wednesday on, it's just a madhouse in here. But we got a great setup. I'm overlooking the Sam Darnold Super Bowl sign. You got Radio Row in a nutshell happening. This guy, Bobby Trosted, I got to start charging him rent. This man just uses my table. He's a leech. He needs me. He wouldn't be here without my support. Look at him. He's just leeching on the Jake Asman Show enterprise here. Unbelievable. But anyway, we'll be live throughout the week with some great interviews and then obviously some content that will roll in on the channel. But I'm curious how the fan base feels. Again, let's get the super chats rolling. Get your raffle tickets in. Appreciate everyone who's tuned in. And thanks to everyone who watches year-round, who makes trips like this certainly possible. Speaking of trips, I want to thank our hotel sponsor this week, Hotel Emblem. Without them, we wouldn't be here. Hotel Emblem has come through for us. If you're traveling to the Bay Area, they should be your go-to. They're located where Nob Hill meets Union Square and the Theater District. It's a great location, about 10 minutes or so from where we're broadcasting from in the Moscone Center. It's designed for those who think boldly and live even bolder, like us Jet fans. It's an incredible decor. It's a very old, sleek-looking building. It was built in the early 1900s, and it feels like you're going into a time machine when you're in there. But it's a really cool spot, great location here in the city. So if you're traveling to the Bay Area, you definitely got to stay at Hotel Emblem. Thank you again to Hotel Emblem for making this trip possible. Roster Dread is the first to enter the raffle. +2 on that. Thank you to Roster for being a part of the Maniac raffle. Lou B checks in. OC pick may be based on who does it the cheapest. Look, you hope not. But again, I think the reason why they didn't hire Wink Martindale is because Woody Johnson probably said to Aaron Glenn, hey, dude, paying you $12 million a year, you call the defense. All these other guys around the league are the star defensive minds. So call the defense, right? And I think if you want to spend big money, then spend it on the offensive side of the ball. Like if Woody Johnson said to Aaron Glenn, I'm still paying Steve Wilkes. You're a defensive guy. You're making $12 million a year, let's say. You call the defense, but I'll let you spend money on a big offensive coordinator to try and make up for the Engstrand hire, which, again, I would push back and say I'd rather just keep Tanner Engstrand and hope he grows into the role with his second year than go out there and get rid of Engstrand and now have to hire a brand-new offensive staff and learn a brand-new scheme if you end up with Frank Reich. But I don't blame Woody for that. I don't. I mean, he hired Aaron Glenn and was sold on Aaron Glenn being the CEO coach, and he'd hire a great staff, and he hired a horrific staff in year one. So, again, Woody Johnson's a bad owner. But if Woody Johnson said to Aaron Glenn, you call the defense, I'm not paying Wink Martindale, I understand that. Again, Wink Martindale's not that good. All right, Aaron Glenn could do the same thing Wink Martindale could do. And at least at this time, it's all on Glenn. Like, you're the guy. You either sink or swim. There's no one else to blame. Can't blame Wilkes. Can't blame Engstrand. Can't blame Charles London. Can't blame Justin Fields. This is on you. Figure it out or you're gone. Jetstream in the raffle for 4. Everything is double the fun. I would be opposite of excited if they traded for Kyler, go back to baseball Murray, draft some blue chip players, and take a chance on a quarterback in the second round or later. I think my ideal quarterback room for the Jets is like Kirk Cousins and Trinidad Chambliss, Kirk Cousins and Garrett Nussmeier. Again, I don't know if Chambliss will be in the draft. He's fighting for the extra year of eligibility, but I don't think Ty Simpson's the move at 16, and I think he's going to be gone by the time we get to the second round. I've seen some mocks where Ty is there with one of the Jet picks in round 2. I don't think so. I know he's only started 15 career games, but supply and demand. Too many teams need quarterbacks. And I think Ty's a guy who's smart, son of a coach. He'll test well at the combine. He'll meet well with teams and interview well. I just don't see him making it to the second round. comments, questions, super chats, cut the line. You guys are awesome for tuning in to our content. Let's get to a couple of your calls to start it off. Jason in Jerusalem is first this morning for me, and everyone on the East Coast, it's already the afternoon. What's up, Jason?
Hey Jake, it's a dinner time show. How you doing?
The time differences are wild, Jason. Appreciate you calling in.
Yeah. What do you make of the new FAN report from what's this guy's name? Sean Marash? That basically Woody told Glenn that he couldn't hire Wink, that he's paying enough money that he should run the defense. And that Muji's saying to
It sounds like
everybody
that
that
happened. Right?
he's
Doesn't
also
it
saying
sound like
that
that happened based on what we
I'm
know?
wondering what it is. I mean, it does seem like there's something involved there, whether it was Glenn himself thinking that he didn't want to, go down that stream, that he figured if he's going to go down, he's going to call the defense, or whether Woody meddled. But he's also saying that Muji's basically telling people to stay away.
Yeah, I look. I don't know about the Muji report and all that. I don't know if Muji's going around running his mouth telling people to stay away. That sounds counterproductive for a guy who's trying to save his job, right? And he maybe could be here post Aaron Glenn if he has another good draft. But I just think when you look at where the Jets are at, Jason, if you're Woody Johnson and you just paid money for Steve Wilkes and you're paying Aaron Glenn $12 million a year, why wouldn't Aaron Glenn call the defense, right? Like again, like all these other coaches around the league, that's what they do. Like I never understood the idea that your head coach got the job based on his expertise on the side of the ball, and then you don't let him do it. Like even Saleh admitted that a big mistake he made with the Jets, he felt like was not calling plays. Now he's going to do it with Tennessee.
So is the issue that Woody did it, or the issue is that why did it take so damn long for Woody to put his foot down?
I don't think there's an issue, to be honest with you.
Then why do you
Like, again-
interview Wink and bring him in if you're not going to offer him the job and going to want Glenn to do it himself?
I do look. I guess the criticism would be, did Glenn feel like he had full carte blanche to hire his staff again? And then Woody said not so fast when they were close with Wink Martindale. Then it's like, is the owner getting second thoughts about the head coach in general? And if that's the case, it goes back to what I was saying. Aaron Glenn should have been fired on Black Monday with the other coaches who were let go. But at the end of the day, I don't think Woody's wrong for saying to Aaron Glenn, why do you need Wink Martindale?
Agreed. Unless you think that he adds something that you don't have without him. Do you think it's a better staff with Wink or without Wink?
I think it's a better
you say
staff
it's-
without Wink.
Okay, I agree. I think Wink is overrated, but just the whole schedule and how everything transpired, it just looks really, really bad, both on Glenn and on ownership. Frankly, why do you allow same reasons? I mean, part of the report also is that it was only later that they said you better fire Engstrand, which also looked bad. Fire him straight away. Why do you have to wait till so late in the game to do such a thing?
Well, I think the timing of it makes you question everything. I wonder if Woody Johnson simply said, "Hey, I'll give you funding for offensive coaches. You're a defensive guy. We're not spending the money there." And honestly, wouldn't you rather spend money to fix the offensive coaching staff than the defensive staff if your head coach is defensive minded?
Correct. And especially if you want to learn the lesson from Salah of what happens when you have the defensive guy. I mean, Rex was great because he really was very much into the defense. The problem was that he didn't have his pulse on the offense
Correct.
and cycle through OCs the way that Herm did.
I mean, he had Schottenheimer for the first 3 years, and then it kind of fell apart. And they blamed it on Schotty when in reality, Mark Sanchez never really took that step. And I think a big issue the Jets had in those years, too. It really went all downhill when they got rid of Jericho Cotchery. That was the beginning of the end for that run with Rex. When they replaced Cotchery with Derek Mason, I'm still mad at Mike Tannenbaum to this day, and I give him crap about it on the radio.
I mean, Schotty was the really going back the Christmas game against the Giants where Cruz had that really long touchdown, but what Sanchez threw like 60 passes in that game or something like that. They just totally abandoned the game plan.
Oh, that was the
when I
worst.
remember
The
that
Victor
Christmas
Cruz game.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly, the Christmas game. All right, Jake,
Pain.
bring some good mojo back to the Islanders, man. We could use it after these last two.
They'll be okay. I have way more faith in them than I do the New York Jets. That is for sure.
Yeah, I have as much faith in the Jets as I do in the Rich Kotite era. I mean,
This might be worse, Jason, because at least the Kotite era, there was like, Kotite led to Parcells. I don't know where this Glenn stuff is leading to.
yeah, but I mean, I was the ultimate optimist, and I was like 10 at the time, and even I knew that the Jets were not going to have any measure of success that last year with Kotite. I mean, you literally hired a coach who was fired because he had lost his last 6 or 7 games in a row and totally lost the team. Like, he's our new leader. I mean, it made like Adam Gase hiring look like just a brilliant move.
Yeah, a lot of pain you're bringing up, Jason. A lot of pain. You're ruining,
Yeah,
you're
we're
ruining my
Jet
day.
fans.
It's only 9:45 in the morning.
Well, we're Jet fans. What else do we have?
You're not wrong. Ladies and gentlemen, it's our guy Jason in Jerusalem. Little guest update. Connor Rogers just texted me. He's available 15 minutes earlier, so he will be joining me in 15 minutes. That's right. Connor Rogers coming up. We'll talk all things New York Jets football with him. Until then, though, I got time for your calls. I got time for plenty of your super chats. Make sure you enter the raffle. And I'll tell you what, when you enter the Asmaniac raffle, it is double. And I feel like we need to do a jersey giveaway while I'm out here. We didn't do a daily raffle prize yesterday, so let's do one on the show today. Jets Legends jersey in honor of the Super Bowl. You'll have 2 color choices for Joe Namath, of course. You got Namath, Joe Klecko, Curtis Martin, Wayne Corbett, Darrell Revis, Nick Mangold, and Keyshawn Johnson. Those are your choices. If you enter the Asmaniac raffle for the jersey during this live stream, you also will qualify, as always, for the weekly raffle. Appreciate everyone who continues to support the show. We are live at Radio Row. We would not be able to do it without the support of this amazing community. So thank you to that for that. And our guy Frank P. Whoa, double the fun. A 10 spot of channel memberships. Frank P. getting it rolling. Hit it, Herm.
Hello. You play to win the game.
Frank in for 20. Frank, you are the man. Always appreciate your daily support on the show. Let's give a shout out to the following 10 Asmaniacs who are now channel members, courtesy of Frank: Ray Meeble, Charles Nicholas, E.R. Rivera, Sean Weedle, Jet the F Up, James Kennedy, Little Tuna, Jeff Seawald, and Rock and Rant. And by the way, I know there's that rumor about Muji out there telling people that, don't work for the Jets. Muji was not at the Senior Bowl. I was down there. The Jets had some of their key lieutenants there. Obviously, Glenn was not there because he's trying to hire an entire coaching staff. But Darren Muji, to my knowledge, was not at the Senior Bowl. I did not see him once, and I basically saw all the Jet scouts and front office people that actually were there. So I don't buy this Muji rumor. I buy Woody telling Aaron Glenn, you call the defense. That logically makes sense. But I don't buy the Darren Muji's like, hey, don't work for the Jets. It's a tough place to work. I'm not buying that. Comments, questions, super chats. Let's get to some more of your calls as well. Morning Woody is on the line. Hello, Morning Woody. Woody? Woody?
Hey, how you doing, Jake?
Hey, Woody.
You got me?
I got you, Woody. I think you're making the classic mistake of watching the show on YouTube while you open StreamYard. So everything's delayed. So you're going to see this in about probably 15, 20 seconds or so, and you're going to be like, wow, what the heck is going on? I'll wait. It's fine. I got nowhere to be. It's all good. I'll chill. You got a great beard, Morning Woody. Speaking of Woody.
Thinking is overrated.
Hey, call back, Morning Woody. We'll try and get you back on. Let's go to Philly Noodles in the meantime. What's up, Philly?
That was great. Perfect time. Not like anybody can just be grabbed while you're, sitting there and taking on calls. That's great. Yeah, that Moogie claim, that's crazy. That's out of bounds. There's no way. I mean, that would be pointless. I think the writing's on the wall. I think naturally people would feel that way. You don't need to say, hey, don't take this interview. You're just not. We already know some dudes decided not to take interviews, even when they asked. So I'm interested to see, obviously, what OC we decide to choose, because obviously that'll lay credence to what they do with quarterback, I think. Any speculation with Kyler, any speculation on anything, it's going to happen with the Jets, right? Especially we're under a microscope at this point. So I think the worst thing that could happen.
Any trade scenario, Philly, too, like any veteran, because it's like you look around the league, okay, which teams need quarterbacks? Jets definitely do. Which team has cap space to take on any bad contract or any contract? The Jets definitely do. And most importantly, which team's got the most picks, premium picks over the next 2 years? It's the Jets by far. They got 5-1. So any trade scenario, people are going to speculate and use the Jets because you get clicks when you do that. And also, logically, it does make sense because they need a quarterback.
That's correct. And I think the craziest thing I've heard yet was, I forgot who said it, Deshaun Watson to the Jets.
Oh, my, shoot me in the face.
Like, God, I was like, dear God, I forgot who it was. And I was just like, please. I think it was an analyst. It was an actual analyst, like ESPN analyst. And I was like, dude, you can't be doing this right now. So that would be crazy. I wonder if there's any kick on tires for, certain situations. Like I saw someone bring up the Stroud situation. I'd rather Mills out of that scenario, just because it'll be a cheaper get, even if he does pan out to be decent. I think if like a Kirk Cousins was a thing and then you were able to get like Davis Mills, I think prototypically him seeing a guy like that succeed would help him out or do decent, and him under his tutelage would be good. Same type of quarterback, a little stationary, good arm. Accuracy has been a thing with Mills as a problem, so maybe he could learn under Frank Reich a little bit if Frank Reich was the choice. Greg Roman, to me, if we land Greg Roman, it just screams shot at Chambliss, bring in Murray. It's just like balls to the wall, whatever you can get. You can even consider them thinking they have to keep Fields for a little bit, maybe make Fields look a little bit good and then dangle him for a trade. I think any scenario like that could occur. But the worst thing that I would not want to hear, which I hear is buzzing, is that whole Mendoza trade moving up. I don't know if you heard anything like that down there. If you're going to, I hope not. But
well, Philly, the Jets are going to try. I just don't think the Raiders are going to accept any real offer. But the Jets, of course, are going to call. They need a quarterback, and Mendoza feels like the best one clearly in this class. So I think what Daniel Jeremiah heard logically makes sense. We talked about it on yesterday's show. I just don't think the Raiders are trading the pick. They hired Clint Kubiak. You think Clint Kubiak is taking that job unless he clearly knows who his quarterback he's going to be working with this next year? There's no way. Yeah,
100%. I think you're right on that. So I'm excited to see who you bring on the show as you're there for the week. You should start like slapping some merch on these dudes that come and talk to you. Like, wear this hat while you're on air.
I got some stickers. I'm going all Richie stickers on.
Oh, you're going Richie stickers on?
We got some magnets. I got, I have two. These are brand new. We have full as Maniac, sticker sheets to give the folks.
There we go.
It's happening.
Just slap them on everybody. Actually, you should do a move where it's like on your hand and you just dap them on the back and just, now they're as Maniac. They don't even know it. I love it. There we go. Hell yeah, man. Have a good week, dude. Enjoy it.
Philly, you're the man. Thanks, brother. Appreciate it. Good call from Philly Noodles. Keep it rolling here with your calls. Now, Morning Woody is back on the line, and I'm going to try and manifest some positivity with his call coming up. We had some tech issues his first go around. Let's give him a Morning Woody hug before we get to Morning Woody.
I hug him every day. I hug him every day.
Mr. Woody, are you there? Mr. Woody. Woodrow.
Thinking is overrated.
Woody, are you there? Woody.
I hug him every day. I hug him every day.
It just might not be meant to be. It's tough. More of your calls right now. Ladies and gentlemen, let's say hello to the Chuck Wagon.
Chuck Wagon's always cooking, which it takes. Chuck Wagon's even cooking at the game. Chuck Wagon hates McDonald's, but he's headed home to cook. It's time once again for Chuck Wagon.
Morning wood wasn't meant to be, I guess. Can't always work. But to answer your question about if Kyler Murray is a good choice, I wrote down a list of quarterbacks that, probably wouldn't be as good or slightly better. Taylor McKee, he's a total unknown. Willis, I can't pronounce his first name. He had some action, so at least he has some experience in the regular season. Mac Jones, no, unless there was no one else. Trey Lance, no. And then trade for Kirk Cousins, well, he's 37 years old. and he already said no to the Jets once before. And then Jameis Winston isn't too bad, but he's 32, so that's not too bad of a choice. But honestly, there isn't that much out there other than Kyler Murray, and if we can get him on the cheap without giving up much, you got to try for something. I don't want to give up a first round pick or something like that to Atlanta for a 37-year-old. So there isn't really much out there, especially in free agency.
It's not great, Chuck. I mean,
No.
That's the reality, right? And that's why it's devastating that, this is a year where it's not like, the 2023 quarterback class, or I guess it was what was the year Drake May was the third overall pick, right? That was 2024. So you had Drake May, you had Caleb Williams, obviously, and you had Jaden Daniels. Like, you had 3 clear first-round quarterbacks, and there were even 2 others in that first round in Penix and McCarthy. But the point is, the Jets just went 3-14, worst record in the sport, don't get the number 1 pick because of strength of schedule percentage points, and there's no obvious quarterback pick for them to take at 2. This is kind of the spot they find themselves in, where I think it's in their best interest to just get a steady veteran, build the roster, let Glenn prove, hey, I could coach if you want to get that 3rd year. And then if it doesn't work out, at least you're adding talent to your team and you're much better equipped to get your quarterback in next year's draft, 2027.
Kyler, my only concern is I don't want him to be another Justin Fields 2.0. I'm really concerned about his work ethic. You can't coach that. Either you have it or you don't, and that really scares me. Oh, did Connor just get there?
No. Let me produce
okay.
the show, Chuck Wagon. All right. What is this?
Sorry, you were looking around. I thought maybe you saw a ghost or something.
I'm near Sam Darnold all week, so yeah, I'm seeing plenty of ghosts.
Lucky you. At least you're warm.
I am warm. It was 60 degrees yesterday and sunny. It was so nice to walk around San Francisco. I'm like, I haven't felt like this in a long time.
So jealous.
Chuck Wagon, I appreciate the call, man. Good stuff on the wagon there. Comments, questions, super chats. They cut the line. Amanda Madison became a member all on her own. She is in the raffle for 2. Amanda, thank you. Let's give you a good job.
Good job.
Good job.
Good job.
Thank you, Mad Max. Iron Will with a super chat. Cards fan here. I could see Arizona trading Kyler to the Jets with $20 million subsidized with a 28 first-round pick. Jets would only owe Kyler Murray $23 million as a bridge QB. What do you mean by that? You mean the Jets would give you one of their first in 2028? Why would the Jets ever do that? That doesn't make any sense. If the Cardinals are trading the Jets a first to take on Kyler Murray's contract, then we're talking. But I don't think the Cardinals would do that. This to me doesn't really make much sense. I'm not really understanding what the plan would be here. I don't see that as a possibility. Bino writes in, Mike T suggested Watson. Did he really? I'm going to find that audio to talk about it with Mike on our last show together on Sunday on ESPN. That's ridiculous. Again, I don't want to give up anything for Kyler Murray. The Jetstream says Iron Will put the pipe down. Oh, man. Hey, everyone. I apologize. We are having major tech issues from inside the convention center. So we are going to end the stream, spend $1,100 with the greedy NFL to buy Ethernet so we can stream the show. They promised us the in-house Wi-Fi would be better this year. It worked on Monday. It's not going to work on Tuesday. So the NFL wins again. So I apologize, but we will unfortunately have to end this stream. We'll be live for a long show this afternoon with a bunch of guests that are going to join us. Apologies for the Connor Rogers interview being cut out. I didn't realize we lost them, but we'll edit that together as a separate piece and upload that for those of you who tuned in late and potentially missed it. But apologies for the tech issues, guys. Sorry. It's out of my control. So we're going to have to end this stream, and we'll be back this afternoon, I promise you, with more coverage. Again, live from Radio Row. I'm on my phone. I tried everything to get this Wi-Fi to work, and it's not going to work. So $1,100 coming out of Asmaniac Media Corporation. I'll talk to you guys in a little bit. Thanks for watching, and as always, go hold on. Now this won't let me end it. And as always, go New York Football Jets.
Oh, hi. Jake wants me to ask you to click on the like button.
That's right, Lane. And if they don't subscribe to the Jake Asman Show, this team may never win another game. Let's go, Jets.